Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. 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 Don't pause. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Press play. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Don't pause, press play. Press play. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. 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 Don't pause. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say.
Excited for another day of matches, man.
We have a pretty interesting matchup here. I've seen these two teams go at each other before, and it's going to be a lot of fun this time, too. There's some people to keep an eye on. Definitely keep an eye on. Danks always gives us some very good plays on the Reinhardt. Also, I always like to watch Helix the Cat, who does a very good job on the main healers as well.
Well, I do like the name Helix the Cat. Loving that name. I have seen Void played. I saw them play last week. They did very well. Pika getting moved up to the gold division. He seems to be finding his own here and doing well for his team. I have not seen Pro play yet, though, so excited to see what they bring to the table.
And also, Rith does an incredible job as a main tank. So keep an eye on those people. So let's talk about what our first match is going to be. Our first match is going to be going into Dorado.
Dorado, great map, great payload map. A lot of high ground. You know, I always talk about the high ground maps. It's such a big issue in this game. So you get anything like a Diva, a Winston, or any kind of tank that can get up there and take high ground from players. It's always important. Any kind of DPS that can also get up high, like a Widowmaker or a Pharah, usually works pretty well on this map. We'll see if they come out with a 3-3 common setup or they come out with a 2-2-2 like the old days.
We'll have to see. I think these players can run either, so I wouldn't be surprised to see either of those come out of here. This is gold division, so oftentimes GOATs doesn't work as well as in the higher ranks, and oftentimes people will just stick to a 2-2-2 composition and just play it a little bit better than the enemy team plays GOATs, and oftentimes that works out well for them. So
absolutely, man.
I mean, GOATs, it requires a lot more coordination in a team than a 2-2-2 does, which is why it oftentimes struggles in solo queue and in lower ranked matches.
Well, I think that's a common misconception of GOATs, is that people think it's an easy comp to play. But it requires, you're right, it requires a lot of teamwork and a lot of coordination amongst the D.Va and the Zarya, knowing when to use their abilities, when they're on cooldown. And like you said, 2-2-2 is a little bit more skill-based, where a single player can kind of carry their team if they're playing.
So looks like the side of Pro, they're going to be running GOATs, but Void is going to be, well, I'm not going to say quite yet. They may change it around, but looks like Rith is going to be on the Sombra.
And as you said, it looks like they are switching over to a classic. Oh, wait, never mind. They do have the Sombra. So they still are running the triple tank with the Sombra. So Sombra GOATs, great choice. You can see Rith can get invisible, get behind their players, and hack up that Reinhardt, which takes away a big part of Pro's game.
Just have to make sure you get the hack on the right person and you don't get caught out while you're hacking. You need to make sure you have an escape. Rith has come out of the stealth, but didn't manage to get a hack off. Instead, it was just shooting. See Tribal Eyes down there, making sure the bottom stays clear. No one is going to be jumping down there. If they do, they're going to get stunned from behind, and we're moving up towards the arches. Now, this is the time for the engage. Pro, they want to get in here. You see the fire strikes going off. You see that those hammers swing. Both teams want to find an opportunity to move in here, and the first one who's going to fall is going to be Nethel. That's going to be very good for the side of Void as they're pushing up here. They want to utilize that advantage of the enemy team not having a main tank, and they're starting to do it. But Sozin was knocked out of the D.Va mech. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. It seems that Void is just going to be cleaning up the rest of the team with a great hammer down, and that is going to be the point.
Yeah, great strategy by Pro, taking that high ground, waiting until they get into choke, and then rotating over together. Unfortunately, Nethel just did not have the healing he needed to stay alive early on in that fight. And once your Reinhardt is down, when you're playing this triple tank comp, it's very hard to keep the rest of the team.
It is very difficult to do that without having a barrier. You need to hide behind it to make sure you don't get hit by different projectiles and things like that. It's a great job of stopping Earth Shatters, obviously. And there's really no other way to stop Earth Shatter. The rally seems to be burned a little bit early. Tribalize wants to get an engage here. Pika trying to start some damage off Tribalize. They're trying to do so, trying to get some stuns off. And it looks like the side of Void has done a good job of securing this high ground. They're up there, not going to be dropping off and going onto the back line. Abstract Co wants to stay away from Danks on the Brigida. And it seems like Void, they've just been pushed off.
Absolutely. You see Sozin and the Abstract are taking the high ground and getting a little bit of poke damage. The only thing they have, Pro has to contest right now is Sniv on the D.Va to get up there with them. So it's a 2v1, so it's a hard fight. Unfortunately, those two can't go onto payload.
So that was a big EMP catching 3 people on the side of Pro. And Void, they're engaging on top of it. Danks has burned the rally, though, and is going to start giving the team some armor. But Nethel was hacked, and so could get knocked down by the Earth Shatter from Pika. And that could be the rest of this fight. Sniv is hacked. Pika's getting his health back up, and they're going to be pushing this payload further.
Another big Earth Shatter out of Pika. It's 2 in a row right now. He's really making a lot out of his Earth Shatter. He's getting at least 3 members of the enemy team on him, cleaning up kills, ending fights, right?
Yeah, Nethel has been sitting on that Earth Shatter for a while. We may be seeing that this next fight. The payload is in the last stretch. The rally has come through from Tribalize, but isn't really near the enemy or near the team quite yet, and so isn't giving them armor. Instead, right in the middle of the enemy team, and is now starting to get back with Void. There's the hammer down. It's going to be catching 4 people on the side of Void. Great hammer down from Nethel. They're going to be just moving up here, trying to clean up the rest of it. Abstract getting caught out a little bit. Might fall, is pretty close, but is going to survive.
Well, interesting ult right there at a casual spec. The enemy team doesn't have a Zarya, so they don't have to worry too much about a clearing ult. So I guess he was able to use it. He is just using his ult just to get his team through the choke, to get his Reinhardt in position to use that Earth Shatter right there. But it worked out well, as you see, Nethel using that Earth Shatter, getting 4 people, and like I said, Earth Shatters can end fights quickly, and that was one of the times.
So now the Coalescence has come through from the side of Pro, and Danks has, a great hammer down from Pika, means that this should be the fight one with Elfie and Nethel both fallen. Void is just pushing up now, getting a charge off onto Wolfpack. Isn't going to do anything because of the bubble, but they are going to be able to get this checkpoint.
Would have liked a little more awareness right there out of Pro, realizing that Pika's ult is going to be coming up again. He's hit the last two very well. There's no reason he's not going to hit this third one. They need to save a support ult for their offensive ults. And unfortunately, they didn't have anything in the bag to save themselves from that ult.
You have to be very cautious. You have to keep that in mind. A huge EMP going to be catching 4 people, but it doesn't catch Casual OP.S.E.C. and so is able to burn the Transcendence and keep the team alive through the Dragon Blade. Great play there from Casual OP.S.E.C. Nullified 2 ultimates. And now Tribalize wants to find a little bit of engage, has to fall back a little bit, make sure that the healing goes through onto the team. There's a hammer down. It catches Pika and the rest of the team, and they are wanting to move in. Pro, they're trying to find an opportunity. Seems like they weren't really able to get any kills out of that, but it did push Void back.
Yeah, Casual Spec, definitely with the redemption all right there. Void having to waste 2 ults, the EMP and the Blade, which are a huge combo to clear out a team. Didn't get a single person out of it because of Casual Spec.
And now it looks like a next fight is starting. Pika wants to try and get some ultimate charge using the fire strikes, but it is not landing. Tribalize wanting to move in now using the shield bash, and there is the Graviton Surge catching several members of the side of Void, but they're using the nuke to zone everybody off. Thanks has used the rally as well to get some armor onto the field, but it can't stop that much damage from a Reinhardt charge, and so Sozin does get, or rather Elfie gets killed, and now it's just cleanup time for the rest, for Void. They're just pushing through the rest of Pro and cleaning up the rest.
Yeah, the ult economy, it seems to be really in Void's favor right now. Pika, I think, just got 2 Earth Shadows in about 30 seconds, which was really impressive. He got caught in that grab, I guess just used his E to hit everybody, which charged up his ult real.
But there is a great hammer down from the side of Pro, and it knocked down several people on the side of Void, but it seems like they weren't able to engage on top of it, and that is the EMP catching 6 members on the side of Pro. The Rocket Barrage comes through and it kills 3 members on the side of Void, and now it's just a push to the end, and that is it for round 1.
Great use of the EMP right there out of Wraith and Abstract. Once the minute Wraith was able to use that EMP and get D.Va, there was no defense matrix, nothing stopping that massive barrage from hitting the entire enemy team. Just cleaned up 3 members, easy win.
And that was definitely a very good push. They have a minute and 30 seconds, a minute and 37 seconds left in the time bank, and that is a place where you want to be on this map. If you do push it to the end, which oftentimes doesn't happen, having extra time, a minute and 37 seconds is fairly respectable. Having that extra time, it will benefit you in round 3 if it does end up there.
Yeah, that was a great push from Void right there. They seem to have no answer for that Reinhardt. Pika on the Rhine was just able to go wherever he pleased on that map. That's what I'd like to see out of Pro this next map. Putting a little bit more pressure on the enemy Rhine, whether it be actually his health bar or just getting that shield down right away so he doesn't have any protection. But they need to create some space for themselves because right now it's all Voids. They can just go where they want on the map.
Also, it seems like they never really could engage on top of the Earth Shatters. I feel like Nethel did land quite a few good ones, but they had a hard time getting on top of it. Also, Rith was popping off on the Sombra, and it seems like Pro had a really difficult time dealing with the EMPs when they came through.
Yeah, that's the thing about a good Sombra. You don't often see the Sombra necessarily get a lot of kills in the upper right corner, but you can tell a good Sombra by how quickly she can charge her EMP. And you saw Wraith just had so many EMPs. He had one for the Pika Slam, he had one for the Abstract Barrage. It seems like every time Void had a DPS ultimate to use, Wraith was right there with his.
So here starts the next fight. You see Pro, they're slowly moving up. They want to find some opportunities. They want to get a little bit of damage, a little bit of ult charge, but they're playing very carefully. They want to make sure that nobody gets caught out. You see Sozin up onto the top trying to get a little bit of damage onto the back line, but Wolfpack with Elfie on him as the Mercy is going to be able to push them back, and this is the time for the next fight. So we're starting to see this choke point break out a little bit. You see Tribalize wanting to get up there. Nethel is going to fall. A great anti-nade, make sure that no heals could go to the Reinhardt. Casual OP.S.E.C. getting caught out a little bit. Looks like he's going to be able to get away thanks to a Zarya bubble.
Void doing a great job playing the same strategy that Pro played, where you sit high ground, wait till they get to choke, and then rotate around as a team. They just seem to be able to get the kills first, which helps them out, and now they can hold choke, which is actually a hard thing to get through once the defense is able to get set up in this position.
Rith on the backline, just getting a little bit of extra charge there, and then using the translocator to get out. Pika was knocked down for a little bit and doesn't really have a healer there, is dropping very low, but now is starting to get the Ana heals and is going to be staying alive. Clutch heal there, and a big hammer down, catching 3 members on the other side, and with a great high noon from Abstract, that is going to be a team kill.
They did just use 3 ultimates, maybe 1 too many there. You see Pro right now with the Ana ult and the Reinhardt Zarya ult coming up. So they got a good combo coming up that might be able to clear out this field. If they're going to wait for Danks to get his EMP up maybe and combo all 4, it should be an easy team wipe if they use him correctly.
I think probably it wasn't necessary for Abstract to use the high noon. It seems like the rest of the team was doing a pretty good job of cleaning up the people knocked on the ground. But that is just how it goes. So what do you think Propo needs to do in this next fight?
Well, I definitely think Propo needs to, wait for Danks' EMP to be up, which just got up right now. If he can get a good amount of people with it, the Zarya should have a free ult, and then Reinhardt can either use his ult or not, or they could just swing into that massive group. I'm not sure that Void has enough healing to outlast them.
Looks like both teams are going to use their EMPs, and it catches, looks like more people on the side of Pro got caught, but because that no one could really engage on either side. And with quite a few ultimates burned, there was the Graviton Surge and the Earth Shatter. Both teams are wanting to fight each other, but it's going to be Nethel that falls first, and because of that no main tank, the rest of Void are just pushing up through and cleaning up house.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that EMP hit right there. I know it did not hit Pika for sure. He was able to still have his shield up for that entire grab, and he was actually the only one caught in the grab. So a little bit of a poor use of ultimates out of Pro right there. They will have the Reinhardt coming up there, it looks like, for this last fight, mid-last fight, and also maybe they can use Elfie's Zenyatta Transcendence to get in a little bit and create some space for the DPS.
Use that to just sustain a little bit longer could be very good, but Alfie dropping dangerously low is going to survive. No, never mind. Pika with a great fire strike is going to secure that kill. And it looks like Pro, they might not even be able to get to the first payload.
No, yeah, well, that actually fight, I think, was a blessing and a curse for Pro. It was able to get them to charge some of their important ults right now. Elfies, Nethels, Casual Spec, 3 important ults coming up, and they still have time to get the payload one last time. So if they win this fight, obviously they can push the rest.
As you see, Danks is swapped over to the Reaper, which could be pretty interesting. Sozing wanting to go in. There is the Nano Boost onto the Reaper, doing quite a bit of damage. The Hammer Down does catch several members on the side of Void, but they're staying alive. Abstract using the high noon to get 2 kills, and now Pika is the one who is Nano Boosted, wanting to move in. Danks' attack won't be able to use the Wraithborn to get out. This looks like it's going to be the last fight. Alfie tried to use the Transcendence to contest the point one last time, but was charged off. So Void is going to be taking the first map.
Yeah, great for flank right there at a right at the very end of the push, or very last push. He was able to hack the Zenyatta, so stop Elfie from even using her Transcendence, and get the kill, which is even more important. So even when the hack was ended, she wasn't in the fight to help the rest of her team. Big hack at a right.
Making sure that a specific character cannot use their abilities in a fight can mean life or death. If you know what you're doing and you can keep track of what ultimates should be up, as a Sombra player, you can make sure you can take out prime targets, people who would be essential in the next fight, which allows your team to be more aggressive.
Oh, absolutely. Sombras can carry matches, but they sort of carry matches with communication with the rest of the team, letting their team know who they're hacking, who they're getting rid of in the fight. Is super helpful. And you see right there, I think Wright had his teammates back when he was able to hack the Reinhardt or hack out the Zen in instant.
It's very kind of lore appropriate that they almost carry games from the shadows.
That's right.
They maybe don't pop off super hard, like you can't see it in the kill feed, but they're in the background there, making sure that the team has the opportunities that they need to do what they want.
That's right, just like a good hacker. Doing damage, you don't even know they're there.
So, Pro, they had a little bit of a rough game that time. They seemed to never really were able to engage on top of opportunities that they made, and they seem to make a lot of mistakes, so that Void were able to take advantage of. What do you think that Pro could have done differently in that situation?
Well, I think Pro either needs to try to focus down this Reinhardt quicker. They seem to be poking at Pika every now and then, which is a big thing. Pika did not go down almost at all that game, except for the Earth Shatters. So they need to either just attack him and get him down where this team can't heal him quick enough, or they need to go for the healers. Because right now, the Ana and the Lucio are able to keep the entire team full health right now, up in the fight. So either go for the healers and try to get one of those out of the fight, or try to get that Pika quickly and not this little poke damage that unfortunately is getting healed up and charging the Ana ult.
And a lot of that is communication. When you see a Reinhardt is out of position, you need to punish them, things like that. Anyway, so our next map is going to be King's Row. So hybrid map. First, you got to take the point, push the payload as far as you can, then swap sides. So based off of that performance, Void should do pretty well in this next map. So do you think they'll be able to just keep the same strategy, and if they just play the same game they did last time, they should do well?
Well, I'm interested to see what they do. King's Row is an interesting map in that it has gone sort of through a shift. Widowmaker and Pharah used to be very big picks on this map because of all the sight lines and all the high ground. It's easy to funnel people into a space with Pharah, but it's actually turned into quite a goats map because of the small spaces and the corridors. Reinhardt obviously works very well, especially after payload has been got. That entire second point of King's Row is pretty much just one hallway the size of his shield. So I'm excited to see what they come out with. They really could come out with either the 2-2 with maybe a Pharah and a Widow like old times, or they can go for goats, which has worked so well in King's Row in the past for so many teams. An offense and defense, honestly, goats works. So it's really a toss-up right now.
So we're going to be getting into that map before too long here. And once we do, we'll be able to really see if they'll be able to just keep up with what they've been doing. And yeah, I really do like King's Row. There's a really great aesthetic, and also you have a lot of these great choke points to work around. And a lot of that is, for one thing we do see on defense, is we do see Snoats every once in a while using a Mei inside of goats instead of one of the tanks. And then usually what comes out of that is, can they get past the choke point fast enough to make sure that none of them get caught off by the Mei wall? And if some of them do get caught off by the Mei wall, can the people who can get around it or can go over it, can they properly support the team long enough for the wall to fall?
Absolutely. Mei's very good in this point. You see that very first choke is just the right size for her wall to block off. That's an important part, just like Hanamura, obviously. So Mei works very well, especially on defense on this map. Maybe they come out with that. I'm not sure who on Void or Pro is able to play the Mei. I know I've seen Pika come out with it pretty often. He's pretty good at it.
So hopefully we'll be getting into that soon. I'm not entirely sure why we haven't been able to get into it quite yet. I think there's something going on in the Discord chat, and then once we have that
strategies
out,
going on.
Yeah, there's some question about who should be able to spectate who or something like that.
That's right. That was actually a question early on in the match, where it was if coaches should be able to talk to their team during the match. I do not think it should be allowed, personally. I think that coaches,
it's a little bit of a
in between matches. I don't mind.
Thing.
But during the match, obviously, you have information that your team shouldn't have as far as health, even enemy position. If you really want, you can move that camera around wherever you. Not that any players in our O.C.C. division would ever succumb to that kind of play. We have top-notch, respectable players in this league.
It's best to just not have the temptation.
Absolutely.
Is usually how that goes.
It's like when I'm playing Scrabble. I mean, the dictionary's right here. You might as well look in it.
Yeah, it's best to just not have the dictionary on the table, or like put your phone somewhere else so you can't look at it.
Doesn't look like there's going to be any changes, though. So, looks like one of the same teams coming out here. Exciting to see. Interesting that they chose Pika to be on the tank role. I've never seen him on a tank role before. He usually plays Genji, I believe. He's a very good Genji. So
But
Genji and
was
Reinhardt
doing a
are very
great job on that main tank role.
a fantastic job creating so much space. I think a lot of it also might have been Helix the Cats, healing Helix and Tribalize. Like I said, they did a very, very good job of keeping their tanks up for the fight.
Kind of wondering if Amano passed out again. Hopefully not. Hopefully he's okay. But yeah, if you look at Pika's career profile, Reinhardt is actually their second most played hero in the game. So has played it quite a bit. So, not a huge surprise.
I see, absolutely. Even during all competitive, actually Reinhardt is most played during all competitive. So maybe he started as a Reinhardt mate and switched over to a Genji. Interesting switch, but I like it. A little bit of a different character. Genji is one of those characters that still haven't quite picked up, man. Yeah, his utility is very interesting. It's very situational when you use it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of an interesting thing to deal with that. We're trying to figure out what has happened to Amano. Hopefully he's okay. And yeah, I don't really have much to say beyond that. I guess what we can briefly talk about.
I'm not very good at setting up games. I really don't use the custom game feature ever.
Yeah, I mean, like one of us can do it, one of us can start it, but the problem is that he's in charge of the lobby. So.
Do you guys need me to set up the lobby?
Yes, that would be
man.
fantastic.
I'll fucking set it up. What are the rules? Just normal competitive rules?
Normal competitive rules. Yep.
Okay, sounds good.
Sorry about that, guys. Seems like there was a problem with the game host. Something happened over on his end. Anyway, we have a new lobby set up. We're going to be getting into the game before too long. And here we go. Kings Row, time to go.
Starting off, excited to see it. I hope to see a Widowmaker. As a Widowmaker, like I always like to tell people, I love seeing them in the matches. They can just change a game with their headshots. Love when pops up.
So if we did see a Widowmaker, do you know who do you think we'd be seeing it on?
I believe maybe, I want to say Pika. I know he's the DPS player. I'm not sure if he's a hit scan. As far as Pro, I haven't seen them played. So obviously it's a complete toss-up on who would be playing Widowmaker for them. I know Abstract also seemed to be playing. I think he played McCree last time. So McCree, Widowmaker, they sometimes go hand in hand. Whoever pops it out. We'll see about 10 seconds. We're going to see what Void's going to be coming out here with. What Pro's coming out here with. Obviously, we'll list out the defense first. They're more less likely to change.
Yeah, I looked at Abstract's career profile. It looks like they play a little bit of Widowmaker, not a whole lot, but does have that in their back pocket. For now, it looks like we're going to be seeing Wolfpack on the Hanzo, so at least we do get one sniper, and then we're also going to be seeing Danks on the McCree. So you got a little bit of long range, a little bit of close range, so they should be able to hold this choke nicely, and they are going to be having a standard 2-2-2 composition for this defense.
I do like it. You see Elfie on the Moira, which is a little interesting. Hopefully, I think she's going to be taking care of Sniv and Nethel as the two immobile tanks. She's able to heal both of them at the same time. And then you'll see Ana hopefully just keeping sidelines on her Hanzo and her McCree to keep those two healed up on the high ground.
Yeah, and I'm always a little bit wary whenever I see two main healers like this. I'm always worried that they just won't have enough utility, and they're just going to be over healing their team. But we're going to have to see if that is what happens in this match. Looks like a little bit of a Sombra Ghost, but you have Abstract on the Widowmaker, so we might be seeing some plays there. No one has died yet, though. Just a lot of heals coming through. Sozin seems to be in a pre-rush spot, is going to be knocked out of the mech, but that isn't going to be enough to turn the tide anyway. Nethel was not in front of Pika, and so Pika could get a great hammer down, and you heard the hammer down from Nethel, but was killed before the head hit the ground, and that is going to be the first point.
I'm thinking Pro is going to need a Baguette to answer this Baguette Reinhardt that Void has right now. Unfortunately, Baguette Reinhardt together, unless you have one yourselves, it's very hard to create space against those two. They just have so much damage, so much healing output. They're really able to just sit wherever they want on the map. And I don't think Pro has enough pressure.
It can be really difficult to deal with Brigitte because of the healing and the stuns to come through. Wolfpack did get a great kill onto Abstract. That's going to be a little bit of a delay. Pro, this could be their chance to engage. And you can see they're wanting it. They're wanting to push forward. And so Tribalize uses the rally to keep the team alive through this coalescence and possibly the nano boost. But the dragons come through, and it's going to be cutting the side of Void in half. And that is two of them gone, Tribalize and Pika. And now you just see Nethel trying to get on top of Helix the Cat, who is going to be killed finally.
Not a bad use of ults out of Pro right there. Only used 3. Unfortunately, they did use both their support ults. So we'll see now Void has a little bit of advantage as far as damage goes. Right, with the EMP coming up, if she's able to get multiple people in this EMP, it's going to be hard for Pro to heal.
I'm wondering if Nethel probably didn't need to be nano boosted, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to be getting into this next fight. Rith is using the EMP in the backline. It's going to be catching all 6, and a big hammer down with the Coalescence is going to spell the end of this fight for the side of Pro.
Yeah, huge EMP. Like I said, they're able to get all 6 with the hammer down. No shield to block any of it. That was just, and then obviously Helix the Cat with the Moira ult, able to just Kamehameha away through the rest of the...
That was some great coordination there, and they did manage to pop off. This coordination is what you get in a proper 6v6 environment with teams that are practiced together, and it's really sort of what Overwatch was meant to be. Danks getting a good high noon, and then that was enough to knock down the shield. So for Nethel was able to get a hammer down, but hacked shortly afterwards and died. They couldn't really engage on top of that hammer down. It's what we've been seeing. And Void, they're able to take the payload all the way to the end, or all the way to the second checkpoint.
That's too bad. I would like to see Sniv get a little more aggressive there. They got the kill on the Brig. They have the spawn advantage at this point. So if they're able to hold off Void right there, it's actually the game turns back into their favor on defense, just holding right there right before the... Unfortunately, though, it looks like Void was able to push it to the end.
Oftentimes, you see that point is a great hold, and Rith, using another EMP, is going to be catching 2 people on the side of Pro, and this is just another wipe. It's just the same old story. Rith uses EMP, the rest of the team engages on top, and they get kills. So we do see Travelize using the rally, and that is looks like the next fight is starting soon enough. They will be able to get usage out of that. There is the Graviton Surge with the Dragon Strike. It only got 2. Pika and Sozin were killed thanks to it. But it seems like the rest of Void are able to do good work. You see them just running through, Tribalize, getting some good stuns off, getting some good hits off. You see the healing coming through. They are going to be able to push it all the way to the end.
Another great push there by Void. Interesting strategy out of Pro's side. They had a Reinhardt and a Sombra on the enemy team, and you saw that EMP shatter happen so often. They needed a Lucio ult or a Zen ult. They needed a defensive ult to save their team from those shatters, and they didn't have one. So every time the shatter was able to hit more than 2 people, it was an entire team wipe. Pro needs to switch up the strategy. Great job out of Void, teamwork-wise, communication-wise. Obviously, they practiced this comp. They know what they're doing. But unfortunately, Pro made that a little bit easier on them than they needed to with their comp choice.
Yeah, you really do need something that can keep an entire team alive during a time like that. Hey, in the future, that may be Baptiste's Immortality Field. We'll have to see. But for now, what those heroes are, it's Zenyatta and it's Lucio. The Coalescence does do quite a bit of healing, but not nearly as much as Transcendence, and you do have to keep it on the people you want to heal, and so they had to be really grouped up to all be healed at the same time.
Yeah. Why Coalescence is an amazing ult, a very fun one, both offensively and defensively. Transcendence sort of is second to none, besides maybe a Lucio ult when it comes to keeping your team alive in really hard situations.
The Lucio ult also usually it basically just doesn't have as good sustain as the Zenyatta ult, but it does do quite a bit. So now this next fight is going to be starting. One thing that's going to be pretty interesting is Tanks is sitting on the Ashe. Don't know if they're going to stay on it, but Abstract is on the Widowmaker on defense.
Looks to be staying. I like it.
So here comes the next fight. Abstract not able to find anybody quite yet. You see Wolfpack is going to be going on the flank, going to be trying to get on top of Abstract. Abstract has that number, is watching it very carefully. Pika on that front line, wanting to do something. You see Tribalize getting onto the back line, getting some good boops off, and that is going to allow Void to start moving through and wiping the enemy team yet again. A great play overall from Void.
Great play from Void, however, I do like Pro's comp right here. They have answers for the Widowmaker. If either the Ashe or the Genji is able to get them and get into that back line, it'd be super helpful. So I think Pro can do it with their comp. It seems a lot better than last game. They're setting themselves up for success this time, which I like to see.
And Danks did manage to get a kill onto Helix the Cat, who is just now starting to come back from spawn. If they can engage time, looks like they are. Kill onto Rith, and Pika is going to start opening up the point. Nethel and Wolfpack doing a great job, and they're going to be able to start capping this point, and they will be able to take it all the way without any resistance.
Well, you see, once the Ashe had a pick, Nethel able to get in there and create space of his own. Like I said, such an important part of a Reinhardt play is creating space. Neither team has the Projekt right now, so we'll actually see which game this goes to for the Reinhardts, because last time Pika definitely won, but I think it might be a little different without the support from Projekt for Pika.
So the rest of Void is here. They're going to be holding up pretty far right at the archway. And if they can get a good combo off, that may just pay off. You do see the EMP is now online, as well as the Earthshatter. Rith is on the side, wants to find an opportunity to go in, but isn't going to be able to find it quite yet. Pika is nano boosted and Bob has been brought out. There is the EMP. There is the Earth Shatter. You see Pika just running in and wiping the team. Bob wasn't able to do much besides take out Tribalize, and that is a good fight for the side of Void.
Yeah, the Diva you see right there, Sozin was able to just soak up most of the damage from that Bob, either with her defense basics or just her body. She just sat in front of it. And the thing about Bob shooting someone, it does not give Ashe any ult charge. So he really wasn't doing anything for the enemy team. The Diva was able to get healed up after the Bob shot.
And so Void, they're going to be wanting to try and do more of the same. You see Rith on that backline trying to do a little bit. It isn't going to be able to find it quite yet. The Coalescence has come out from Elfie and is wanting to do some work. The only one who got caught by Nethel's Earthshatter was Tribalize, but although Tribalize stayed alive then, was taken out by Sniv's big nuke. So now you see Pika having to fall back, cannot fight Nethel, is too low on health, and is going to be pushed back all the way to spawn. Is going to get the health orb, but not quite in time, and Nethel won't be able to be punished for this, and they're going to be able to push this payload all the way to the last checkpoint.
Yeah, great play there by Sniv. After the Nethel ult, it didn't hit very much, but she saw that the enemy team was sort of split up and was able to throw her Diva Bomb right in the middle of them. So Pika had no choice but only to block out half his team, and you saw the other half of his team was able to get hit by that Diva Bomb and take 2 out and take Diva out of mech. Big Diva Bomb by Sniv.
So here, looks like we're going to be starting the next fight already. Abstract getting a good kill onto Wolfpack is going to take away some damage from Pro, and now they're wanting to go in, but Tribalize gets caught by a stray damage orb, and so that's some healing gone from their side. They're going to be using the Coalescence to try and get Void through, but it's the hammer down that's going to decide the fight. Nethel catching 4 people with that, and now it looks like they're going to be able to push up pretty far. Abstract getting 1 more kill onto Wolfpack, but is now behind the enemy team and is going to get caught out here, and that's going to be a pretty bad stagger as we come into the final stretch.
A great play, great push here by Pro. Danks on this Ashe doing a lot of work from distance. They don't seem to have an answer for it right now. Wright is not able to get back there and hack or anything.
I think Casual OpSec was a little bit too early with that and ended up not shielding the team from the EMP, which is now out, and it seems like that was enough for Abstract to take out 3 members of the side of Pro, and now they're just wanting to push through and clean up the team on their defense. A great turnaround there.
Yeah, it's going to be a full reset from Pro. Abstract doing a great job. He was the last dead in the previous fight. It seemed like Pro kind of forgot about him when he responded. He was able to come out there, get a nice clean ult, get 2 of them, stop the fight.
So now they have 3 minutes left to take this payload all the way to the end. Will they be able to do it? Looks like not for now. Sozin getting a great Diva Bomb, going to be taking out Danks and Nethel. And you see Void, they're not getting too ahead of themselves. They don't want to push too far when they know if they did push that far, they would have a pretty bad spawn disadvantage. And it's just going to be holding out this corner.
So taking out that Ryan like that automatically stops the fight. Pro has to do another full reset you see right here. Wraith, great hack by Wraith. He's just able to hack this Reinhardt, and then with the Diva Bomb, nothing to shield it, no way to get away. Easy 2 kills. Quick ending fight with 1 ult. You can't ask for more.
So now looks like the teams want to engage on top of each other. You see Nethel swinging away, wanting to get some ult charge and wanting to get some damage, but the Earth Shatter comes through from Pika, and it's going to be catching several people on the side of Pro, and they are just going to be moving through. Casual Ops, or not Casual Ops, yeah, Casual Ops like did use the Transcendence, but it wasn't enough. And you can't forget about Nethel, who was there in the backline, could get a great Earth Shatter. And now Sozin wanting to push up, almost fell into the pit, but did survive. There is a nuke coming through. It's going to be catching Sozin, who just popped out of the mech. Now, Pro, they're making a push.
Interesting use. I was surprised the Earth Shadow came out by Nethel there. It seemed that the fight was already over. But Sniv able to clean up on the Earth Shadow kills and keep the payload moving, keep the fight going. And now it seems like it's grouped up. 6-6 fight again, and they have the payload a little.
So Wolfpack using the Dragon Blade is going to get killed straight away by Pika, but the teams are pretty much even as far as kills go. There is an EMP nuke combo. It isn't going to be enough to get any kills. You see Abstract wanting to get a little bit of damage with the High Noon, wasn't able to find it right then, but they will be finding this fight.
Yeah, Dang's gotta hate that. Throwing a Bob in there, instantly getting EMP, pretty much taking Bob out for his entire duration. No Bob shots.
I'm sure they were waiting just for that. Bob is a very powerful ultimate, but there are ways to shut it down. Namely, Ana and Sombra. You see Rith up there at the top wanting to get a little bit more ult charge and gets a good hack off on to Nethel. It isn't enough for either team to fall, though. Casual Offset going to be using the Transcendence to keep the team alive. There's the Hammered Out. Is going to be catching a lot of people on the side of Void. And now you see Proper, they're wanting to push up through. Sozin is D-Max, and that is a wipe. This looks like they're going to be able to push it all the way to the end, except for maybe a little bit of congestion from Rith. Will it be enough? Doesn't look like it. O.C.C's pushing it to the end.
Nice push there at the end. Great job, Dangs, with the McCree, taking out the enemy McCree. Huge pick to start out with. They had nothing for the Reaper to worry about then. Reaper's only threat right there was the McCree with the stun, right? So he was able to get in there, get a lot of damage too. Good play out there by Pro. Nice way to take it all the way at the end.
So overall, that definitely did go in the way of Void. We're looking at a 1 minute time versus 4 minutes and 16 seconds.
Yeah. Pro only has one chance right here to get this. Unfortunately, this match statistically looks like it is going to be Void, but Pro might come out with an upset. I've seen full holds here before. I've seen it for longer than 4 minutes, so you never know what Pro is able to pull out of that.
They do have the opportunity, but they have to seize it, and it won't be easy. And let's look at the defense that Void is going to be running to try and make sure that they will not be able to take it in the first push. Looks like they're going to be running what they have been running today. Sombra, Goats should be pretty good. Looks like Danks might be playing the Mei.
I mind seeing it. It's a very high sustain team, though. I do like this team with the Moira, with the Brigette. A lot of sustain, a lot of group up potential. Really hard to take this team out when they're grouped up as a 5 or.
It's going to be hard to engage onto a backline with the Mei, and also Goats has a little bit of difficult times. They can't move quite as fast. Rith getting a good kill on the casual OpSec is going to turn this fight towards the side of Void. You see Pro, they're falling back, but they don't want to stay back too long. They only have 30 seconds left. And now we see Wolfpack getting up onto the statue pedestal, trying to get some headshots, but won't be able to find it quite yet. You see Pro, they're moving through the hotel, wanting to find an opportunity. Tribalize, Shield Bash did get blocked, and Tribalize did get a kill onto Elfie, and it seems like the rest of Pro is falling. That's 3 members down. They will not be able to survive, and they will not be able to get anything onto this point.
Yeah, you see right there the hesitation out of Pro. Once their Zenyatta went down early on through Rift, they sort of didn't know whether or not they could go in. They didn't know they had time to group up again, and they hesitated with the only person really going in was Abstract or Wolfpack on the Widowmaker, and couldn't get a pick off, unfortunately. But with only 1 minute, it's hard to do. You really only get one chance, maybe two, so really hard to do on Pro's side. Let's see if they can play some defense right now and hold off Void for 4 minutes.
Like you were spitting some fire bars there.
Oh, sorry, man. I talk fast when I get excited, guys, and I'm definitely excited about this match.
I know you were rhyming. It was great. I loved it. So this is looking pretty good for Void. They just have to take one tick on this point, and they have it. And they have 4 minutes to do it. So we may be seeing some different ideas from them since they have time to experiment. We won't really know until we get into the match and the gates open. But on the other side seems to be another 2-2-2 composition. Wolfpack on the Reaper, Danks on the McCree.
I do like it. They're healing with the Moira. Zenyatta can be a little bit light. Unfortunately, Zenyatta does do healing from a distance, but only a little bit with that Transcendence Orb. So Moira is going to have to do most of the healing, and team's going to have to stay around her. So they do have a solid bunker team, actually. McCree can stop anyone from diving in, along with the Reaper. Obviously, no one wants to dive in on a Reaper getting healed, because he basically heals himself.
So looks like another Sombra Goat's composition from the side of Void. They're wanting to push up here. Travelize using the shield bash to get a little bit closer. It is now going to be getting some damage off. Pika's going to be funded first kill onto Nethel. And with Capital Absec falling next, this seems to be Void's fight. They're just clearing the points so far. And Pro, they are falling like flies. They are going to get cleared from the point. That is going to be one tick, and that is going to be match 2 going towards Void as well.
Great job by Void out of there. You see that Baguette Reinhardt combo. It's so hard to compete against without a Baguette of your own. Nethel just got pushed off point so quickly by Pika. He had no support. Right here, Pika doing a great job on Reinhardt. Usually showing off his Genji play, showing off his Reinhardt play today. Super impressed with it.
That was a great Earth Shatter there. You see it just running through the enemy team. Waiting until just the right moment. It's able to smack that down. Great plays overall. Expecting bigger things from Pika going forward in this season.
16 Earth Shadow kills, 17 stuns. You see Pika I'm so impressed with this Reinhardt play. Never seen it. Thought he was a hardcore DPS main. Proved me wrong with coming out with the exact opposite role in my eyes, which is main tank. And really showing off his skill.
So now we're going to be going into our halftime show. Right now we're sitting at 0-2 with Void in the lead. We're going to see you all after this short break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to O.C.C. Scrim's Gold Division Pro versus Void. It's been a pretty riveting game so far. Void has been pretty convincing. They've won 2-0 currently. And our next map is going to be Busan. I'm joined here by Cal.
How you doing, man?
What's going on? What's going on here? What's with Pro? Why aren't they doing as well as they could be?
It's interesting what's happening with Pro. I think a lot of it is the comp. They're coming out with a little bit of interesting of a comps that aren't countering Void's comps very well. When you see a Reinhardt Brigade, usually you need to have a Brigade of your own if you're playing Reinhardt. When you see a Zarya or a Sombra, you want to have a Lucio or a Zen to try to stop that team wipe from either the Gravitron or the EMP. So I think Pro needs to switch up their comps a little bit to counter Void a little more. And I also think Void just seems like their communication is on another level. Right, with the Sombra and Pika with the Reinhardt, the way they're comboing all these EMPs and these hacks right now are super impressive at it, right? His Sombra play is definitely top-notch. Seems to be above gold in my eyes.
He's been doing a great job. And we do know that Rift can play a main tank as well, but it seems like Pika has that role covered. Has been popping off these last 2 games with the Reinhardt. Has been huge earth shatters, and it seems like Danks on the other side just isn't, or Nethel on the other side just isn't really able to keep up with it.
All right, here we go into Busan. So this is going to be a little bit more interesting. A lot of times these King of the Hill maps come down to not so much teamwork as it does individual skill from the DPS players if they are going to be playing DPS. So a lot of time it's like a death match. And a lot of fun to watch, a lot of kills on screen. A lot of times the fight can go either way depending on who's ahead. So we'll see what these teams come out with. Hopefully no goats, but even honestly, goats right now on this map is not a bad idea. And as long as P can keep playing the Reinhardt at the level that he's playing it at, I think Void could come out on top.
They do have that opportunity. They only have to win this map in order to win the day. We're going to play the 4th map regardless, but that's all they have to do in order to make sure that today is theirs. And by the looks of it, that is a definite possibility for them.
I'm actually going to go call out Pro's comp here to begin with. I believe Pika's going to be switching off that Rhine. So we got Elfie right now on the Lucio. Good choice. Lucio super strong right now. We're switching over to the McCree. All right. Wolfpack on the Mercy. We got Nethel also with a DPS. Okay, this can't be right.
I don't think
this can't be the comp they're coming out with. I'll start in a second. Here we go. They're starting back up. Wolfpack going back to the Hanzo. Elfie going back to Lucio. Nethal is going to be main tank as usual on the Reinhardt. Danks with the Baguette coming out. Casual Spec and the Moira with Sniv on the other tank on Zarya.
And we're going to be seeing Rift back onto the Sombra Void. They are going to be running something a little bit different. They do have Abstract on the McCree, so this is a standard 2-2-2 composition we're seeing from both sides here, so it could be pretty interesting. Tribalize wants to get a little bit off. Nethel does get flashbanged, but does survive. Taking a lot of damage, though, brought down to half. Gets healed up. Pika charging in, not going to be finding anybody. Wants to get something off. Good Fire Strike, going to be getting a lot of ult charge. Does have the ult. Going to be using it. Going to be catching 2 members, but gets killed shortly afterwards. It doesn't matter, though. The rest of Void, they're starting to clean up. Abstract has fallen. It's a lot of DPS is missing, and it seems like, no, they are being pushed back, and that is a good point take for the side of Pro.
Great point taken. Just like I said, those are one of those fights where it seems like it could go either way. Both teams have people dying. You don't know who's going to be left at the end of the fight, who's going to be left standing. That's why it's so exciting, these maps. Right there, prime.
Now, I was about to thank someone for subscribing, but that's you, isn't it, Cal from Cali?
That's me, man. I always subscribe.
Well, thanks for subscribing.
Where it's at.
So now Tribalize has used the rally. Wants to get the team in. The hammer down from Nethel does miss. And so they're going to be starting to push in. Casual Lopsec uses the uses the Coalescence to try and keep the team alive. Seems like it's working so far. And Helix the Cats didn't work quite as well. And it seems like Void, they're getting killed again. And
yeah, you see, Ethel with this Baguette is super helpful. The Reinhardt Baguette is a great combination. And Pika seems to be going off on his own to try to get kills, while the Nethel, Zarya, Brigitte all seem to be targeting one player at a time, and you see it in the kill feed. It's just one after another.
I mean, going after the same target is obviously very, very important, very valuable. So now Void, shaken up a little bit. They're going to be going around the backside, and that's how they're going to be trying to get to the point. There is Rift's EMP. It isn't going to sync quite well with the nuke, but it is going to be enough. Alfie does get killed. Nethel does manage to get a kill on the Tribalize, but it is not enough. And the rest of Void are just pushing through, and they're going to be taking this point.
Great take there by Void. They did have to use a good amount of ults with the D.Va ults and the Sombra ult, but they got all 6. Big stuff. However, they do have the Hanzo and Zarya upcoming with no defensive ults on the enemy side. So if they hit it, it could be a full team.
And we are sitting in overtime now. So if Pro takes the point once, that is going to be enough. They're sitting on 99%. Looks like the game is starting to break out. Nethel on the front wants to get some fire strikes, wants to get some damage. But there is the hammer down going to be knocking Nethel and Casual OpSec down. Casual OpSec gets killed, but Abstract is also going to get killed by Wolfpack, and the rest of the team, they're just having to be very careful. Oh, Elfie gets booped off by Helix the Cat, and now it's just the rest is in Void's hands. They're moving forward, and they're going to be wiping the rest of the team, just trying to get as many advantages as they can. Looks like Sniv is getting away.
Yeah, full reset here again by Pro. Interesting ult there by Wolfpack. I don't know if maybe it was a misclick. He seemed to ult before the fight even started. Wasn't able to hit anyone. Easy for Void to get out of the way of that. And Sniv, though, had a good head on her shoulders. Was able to keep hold of his ult for the next fight, which is a...
So now it's time for another fight. Both teams going at each other. And you see Pro, they're moving through this backside. They want to do the same thing that Void did last time. Both rallies have been burned. Lots of armor on the field. And there is the Graviton Surge. They're going to be kept alive thanks to the sound barrier. Casual OpSec did manage to get a kill with the Coalescence. And though the hammer down came down, it was not enough. And poor Abstract wanted to use the Rocket Barrage, but the rest of the team was already dead. We're sitting in overtime. Abstract wants to contest it. They're going to be helping Rith out, but it's not going to be enough for now. There it is. Pika not able to get on it. But doesn't look like the rest of the team was stopped. Sozin managing to get on there just in time is not enough, though. There are the Twin Dragons. That is going to be it.
Great job there. Great job by Pro at the end. Sniv using his ult. I thought he used his ult a little early because Lucio had just ulted on the enemy team, so they still had that sound barrier up. Though Moira, using her Coalescence, was able to just melt through it, and the entire enemy team chopping away at that 3-man grab was able to quickly start that fight.
And it is looking good for them. Pro, this could be the point where they're wanting to turn it around. This is their opportunity to do so. This is our next map. It's going to be the Hangar. It seems like both teams are going to be keeping pretty much the same comps that they had last time, except that the side of Void have moved over to a full standard Sombra Goats.
Absolutely, yep. I mean, Wright has done so well in that Sombra today. I don't see why you would ever change him off of it. He seems to be cleaning up these kills, cleaning up the Reinhardt on Nethel. And there it is.
The hack is everything. Getting behind is great. Wolfpack did manage to get a kill on Pika. Both teams are without a main tank, but it seems like Void is controlling that top space a little bit better. Sniv, Baby getting caught out here, is going to get stunned, is going to get knocked back into the enemy team, is going to survive for now. Tribalize not quite managing to get the kill. Back onto the point. Pika is pushing Nethel off, but does get charged, but is going to charge right back, and it's going to be enough. Alfie managed to get a boop off onto Tribalize, but it is not what they need.
Yeah, it might be a super important, but Alfie goes down. I was thinking if Alfie's able to get back with the team and start this fight with a 6v5 because of that boop, it might be crucial, but unfortunately Alfie goes down, not able to run away quick enough. And now Pro is going to have to go for a full reset, missing both their main healer, or their off heal, and their DPS.
So now looks like it's time for the next engagement. Void, they're right up on the front. They want to trade some damage. They want to get even more ult charge. We do see that Rith and Pika both have their ultimates, but it's going to be Tribalized that falls first. There's the EMP. There is the knockdown. Classic gameplay, and they're just going to be pushing through, but since the rally was up, they're getting so much extra heals. It isn't enough to quite turn it around, though. Sozin's going to be using the Transcendence to keep everybody alive. They're dropping pretty low, though. You see Rith and Abstract are incredibly low. Rith does manage to get some heals, but it is not enough. Tribalize has to retreat, and Pro is going to be taking the point.
And huge shadow there by Pika. Was able to hit a lot of the team members. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough damage on the side of Void to finish off the kills. And once by the time the Earth Shadow had worn off, Nethel had his Earth Shadow too to counter. And there was enough damage on the side of Pro. They were able to capitalize and easily win that fight and take.
So now we're going into another fight. Void, they want to take it back, and they're going to just be rushing up in there. They're going to get caught by a Graviton Surge, but the Sound Barrier is keeping everybody alive for now, and the Dragon Strike isn't going to be killing everybody, but it does zone them off for a little while. Pika back on the front wants to get some damage, 1-for-1 trade, and then Elfie falls, but Pika isn't there anymore. Not having a main tank, there's no shields for the team. Abstract is there, wants to use the bubble, and is going to be able to keep the team alive. Rith almost got stunned and killed, but is going to be coming back and killing things from behind. Nethel does use the hammer down, but gets EMP'd shortly after. Will not be able to make any use out of it. It is going to fall.
Yeah, good job there by Void. Able to survive the Graviton. Great job on their part. They had looks like they switched off the Helix the Cat, went over to Moira. I believe it was Lucio earlier. Was able to survive that all.
And now it's time for another fight. Both teams, they're breaking out a little bit, and now Tribalize has used the rally. It's more of the same so far. There's a hammer down, doesn't manage to catch anybody on the side of Pro, but they are still being pushed back. Casual OpSec used the Coalescence to try and clear that doorway. Works so far, but is not enough. Gets killed. Most of the team gets killed shortly afterwards, and though Casual OpSec try to get on the point, obviously will not be able to cap it. We're now in overtime. Nethel is there, has used the hammer down. They're trying to stall some people on the point, create an opening. Thanks. Switch over to the Tracer, try to do it, but gets charged straight into the wall. And that is going to be all she wrote as Wolfpack gets killed. One more Graviton Surge from Sniv. We'll be catching some people, but the Transcendence is here. Nobody is going to die today, and that is the second point. 1-1.
Great job there at Void. Much more decisive play from Pika on the Reinhardt. He stayed with his team a little more than last game you saw, which is helpful, but with the Projekt, gets the healing, and then Zarya able to use him for the bubbles. A lot better job on Pika, I think, in that part. Is a big difference maker. You saw why Void.
And now we're going to be going into what very well could be the deciding match. If Void wins at this point, then they're going to be going away today as winners. But they have that's a lot of pressure. They want to be able to do it. But Pro, they have a lot of pressure too. At this point, it will have to be a reverse sweep.
That's right. It's an all or nothing right here for Pro. But I think they can do it. It looks like they have the comps. Playing much more cohesive comps, I think, in this game. And it's showing because they are getting a lot of winning some more fights. Actually won a whole game.
But that is, gumption is not enough to take the point. Nethel is going to fall, and Pika is just pushing in, one to get more damage. Doesn't matter. Sozin is the one getting the kills up near the drum, and that is going to be the first point going over to Void.
Interesting comp right here out of Pro with a single DPS Hanzo. You don't see it very often. He really needs to hit his shots for this to be useful. Or I guess they're trying to rely on the Gravitron Hanzo, but I think that Void has just too much healing and too much sustain for that to really work. But we'll see if it works. Interesting.
So there's the Coalescence. Casual OpSec wanting to use it to try and just push the team forward. Try and say you don't have to be worried. But they do. 2 of them get hammered down, but they are going to survive for now. Nethel, though, looking a little bit low. Tries to use the hammer down. Isn't enough to really catch anybody on the other side. And now they are just cleaning up. You see Casual OpSec trying to get away by using the Wraith form, but is not able to do it.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Pro switch off this Hanzo. It just doesn't seem to be working. These fights are not even getting close. Void just able to clean up, get quick first kills, and then just walk in and get the rest. Pro needs to switch up their comp. They got to realize that it's just not working right now, and hopefully this is the last.
The see Danks does have the rally and is going to be using, giving the team a little bit extra armor. Might be enough. You do see Pika is now in the middle of the enemy team, maybe had a little bit too ambitious of a charge, and is going to fall. The rest of Pro, they feel it, they smell it, they want to get in on it, they want to take this point. But it seems like it's not going to happen.
And I thought for sure Pika was dead right there with that charge, but it looks like Abstract, just huge Zarya play coming in for the rescue with the Graviton, was able to hold the entire team in place while Pika was able to get out and get healed, and then get back in and start swinging to finish off.
So now it's time for another Rift on the back. Wants to use the EMP, is going to be using it just in time before dying. Gets stunned, going to be getting out. It seems like it's enough. That EMP opened up enough opportunities for Pika and Abstracto. They're now just going to be moving in and taking out the rest.
Yeah, that was sort of a desperation grab right there. Out of Sniv. Unfortunately, they knew they had the Zenyatta ult to deal with. They weren't going to get any kills from it. And Sozin being very smart with the Zen ult, holding on to it, waiting for the... And that is going to be a game, it looks like, for Void. Void coming out with a super decisive victory. Pika with another play of the game. This guy is crazy impressive on Reinhardt today, man.
Doing a great job. Look at that hammer down. He's got a lot of kills with the actual act of slamming the hammer into the ground as well, which is something we don't get to see too very often, but is something that happens.
And Reith right there with 24 objective kills. Reith doing another great job, as again, like I say, for great Sombras, you don't always see their name up in the kill feed, but they're hacks. You can tell that they're doing a good job by the amount of EMPs they get, the amount of times the enemy Reinhardt is hacked, just the easy kills that you set up for your team. And Reith is definitely doing that in spades today.
So that is Void going to be winning today overall. We are going to be playing a third map, a fourth map, and maybe Pro will do well, but it won't be enough for them to bring it back home.
Yeah, this match is over as far as the games that matter, but let's see. Hopefully they come out with some fun comps here. They have this sort of extra game they get to play. I would love to see Void come out with some fun stuff. Maybe throw that Bastion, and maybe there's some Bastion Symmetra. I saw them setting it up in the early game. They always switch off to it, though, before the doors open. I would love to see them stick on. Here we go, game 4, ladies and gentlemen.
And here it is, you're right, game 4, Temple of Anubis. And, Void, they're looking pretty good. They may be able to just take this all the way with a 4-0. And now, so we're going to be getting into this pretty soon. We won't be able to see what the teams are going to be running until we get a little bit closer to the match. But, what do we see fairly often? I do get to see Widowmaker on both attack and defense on point A.
Absolutely. Point A is just the definition of a Widow duel, I think, in this game. Both the team Widows can pretty much sit high ground with very little contestation unless they have a Genji or a Diva. And it's sort of whoever can take out the enemy Widow first gets free shots for the rest of the fight, which is really exciting. So we'll see if either of them come out with it. Pika on the Bastion. I would love to see him stay on it, man. Pika, throwing those vibes your way.
Let's see if that happens. Probably not. Has been teasing us with that every match so far. Doubt it's going to happen since they don't have a main tank picked. Now on the other side of Pro, they're running another standard 2-2-2. A little bit of dives, and they have that wolf pack. But overall, they're going to be focusing on keeping that right side just full of fire and damage to make sure that nobody can get through it.
Yeah, I love seeing this Junkrat out of Dank. Sort of an old school Temple of Anubis. You see him used to get ran a lot when Junkrat was really powerful. Obviously, Goats, he sort of just charges up the Zarya now. But if he's able to hold them in choke points, he can just spam grenades in there, and it's super annoying for an enemy team. Just getting that quick 60 damage all the time.
Have to see if that pays off. So now, going to be starting in the fight. And it seems like Void, they've just been pushed off a little bit. Abstract is going to be the first one to fall. And the rest of Void, they're being pretty careful. They're trying to lure Nethel back. Does get charged. Takes quite a bit of damage, but is going to survive. Sniv dropped pretty low as well. But once again, is going to stay alive thanks to their healers. The rest of Pro, they want to be very careful, make sure they don't get caught out, and so would have a really bad stagger. Helix the Cat, though, using the Coalescence on point to try and clear it a little bit faster. The Reptire has come out, and it is going to be taking out Helix the Cat, and this point is going to be defended.
Great job there by Danks, building up that Reptire pretty early on. It's a huge ult. Instant kills if you're able to get near any squishies. I love a good Junkrat ult. And then Nether right now holding on to his Earth Shadow. So if you can get the group enemy team grouped up, you should be able to get a big Earth Shadow out of that. And Genji and Junkrat definitely enough damage to cap.
So now it seems like another fight is going to be breaking out. Void, they're sitting right on the arches. They want to find a way through here. Looks like they're going to be taking the main route. The hammer down does come through from Pika, and it catches a lot of people. And then it's followed up with the EMP. Once they get up, they can't do anything. Abstract going to be cleaning up the riffraff, and they're going to be taking the point.
Well, that was a really interesting ult by Pika. Somehow he was able to get on top of the bridge without going up the stairs. Something I guess the enemy Lucio actually booped him on top of the bridge to set up his ult, and he took advantage of that, getting 3 real quick. Really fun to see a play like that, even an unintentional one by Elfie.
And it is time for point B. This is usually a very long and drawn out fight. Will Pro be able to do it or even cut the time down? Right now, it looks like they're playing pretty safely, but Pika is wanting more, is going to be moving forward. The sound barrier does come through, and they're not going to survive the follow-up. There is the Graviton Surge Genji Blade, and they're just going to be taking out the entirety of Void.
This Junkrat bomb actually saved the enemy team from Nethel's ult. They were in the air when he ulted because the Junkrat bomb had blown them up. And I believe that was actually what put Pika on the bridge last time, not the Lucio. So these Junkrat bombs just tossing the enemy team all around.
It is pretty difficult to deal with that sometimes. And Rith going to be sneaking onto the backline, trying to maybe find something good. Is going to be hacking Abstract, going to be hacking Wolfpack, but Wolfpack is going to be getting away. We do see the Reaper coming back, trying to deal a little bit of damage, but not going to be able to, or sorry, not the Reaper, going to be going into the, what could be the last fight. Looks like Pro, they're doing well. They're making sure to push off the enemy, and they're going to be clearing the point once again.
Yeah, great job by Void with that play. I really like it, going around the side like that. Was able to catch Pro a little off guard. Abstract, however, needs to take advantage a little more of the flank that was given once the enemy team turned around. Super hard for a Genji, though, with the Baguette on the field. You don't see many Genjis out there for that very reason. So he's going to have a hard time getting in if that stun is available for Tribal Eyes or for Danks.
And it seems like Void, they haven't given up. They have plenty of time to keep on drawing. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. We may be going into overtime, though. There is an EMP going to be catching a lot of people on the side of Pro, and now Abstract is just going to be tearing through them with the Genji Blade. There's the hammer down from the other side. Isn't going to be catching too many people. Nethel is staying alive and is now charging in. Does pin Nethel against the wall, but is not going to be able to get the kill. You see the rest of Void, they're trying to just get around. They want to get into this choke and help out Susan, who's now been knocked out of the mech. but is not going to be able to get back into it. Danks killed off by Tribalman isn't going to be good for Pro.
Yeah, interesting ult there by Sozin. I would have liked to see him hold on to it because it looked like the fight was already lost by the time he used it. Rith, I believe, was dead, and Abstract. They were both gone, so they had no DPS there to follow. But he tried it. He tried for the big D.Va play. Didn't work out, and he should be able to get his D.Va bomb back soon.
Yeah, the D.Va, takes a little bit longer to get to it, but could be coming through this next fight. And we are going to be seeing Danks using the rally to keep the team alive, keep them tanky, rather do something to deal with that. They're going to be using the hammer down. Elfie gets caught but does survive thanks to the armor. And now you see Pika all the way in the back line trying to swing away. Deuce and Edge isn't going to be able to do it. And that is going to be another route for Void.
Man, Void having a super hard time pushing on to this point. Nethel just creating space, holding it down with the Baguette Danks. I think that maybe Void is going to have to switch off that comp, get a little more damage, maybe a Reaper instead of this Sombra or instead of this Pharah. I'm not sure what the answer is, but Void is having a lot of trouble on this point.
Yeah, and they just don't seem to be able to take it. They're once again inside of that left hallway trying to do a little bit. The rally does come through, but they're being kept close together thanks to the Graviton Surge. But they were stuck on the other side of the wall, and it means that they weren't really able to get killed. Abstract going to be using the Rocket Barrage to catch 3. And Wolfpack using the Genji Blade. Going to survive, going to turn this around. Looks like going to be doing a good job of that so far. Tribalize is going to be the next one to fall to it. And now, will Void be able to do it? They almost have one tick. It would be great for them to get at least one. That's what they want. The hammer down does come through, but just before Nethel can get to the enemy, gets hammered down as well. And it seems like Pro, they're going to be holding on just by the skin of their teeth, going to be keeping that check from going.
Yeah, great job by Wolfpack there at the end of the first fight. Using his ult, obviously his team was dead, but he was able to use his ult and get 2 of the enemy team. And with the Temple of Anumis, the spawn advantage is so much in favor of the defensive team that all you need to do is get 1 or 2 to sway the fight back.
And it looks like Void is going to be taking what could be what is going to be their last push. Everything they do now is only going to benefit them in the later rounds, and they're just trying to swing away, trying to do a little bit of damage. They're going to be tricking overtime pretty soon, and it's going to be Nethel that falls. Wolfpack trying to dash onto the enemy line, takes a rocket to the face and is very low, but is going to survive thanks to the sound barrier. Abstract now wants to move up towards the point and get some damage down to there. There is the Dragon Blade from Wolfpack. It's catching a lot of people, but isn't enough to kill anybody. Dashes into the air and takes out Abstract. Now Nethel using the Earth Shatter from behind, doing a great job of cleaning up the rest of Pro. Or not the rest of Pro, the rest of Void.
Yeah, super impressive by Wolfpack. Both of his Genji Blades, he was able to kill the Pharah first, which is always good to see. Dash up in the air and get those 2 strikes off on a Pharah. Big takedown, because besides that, Pro really didn't have much to do with Abstract. So great job by the Genji there, taking out the Pharah. Not necessarily a counter to her, but he was...
Got a lot of good work done. And that means no ticks on the first point. They don't have, or the side of Pro, they don't have to take much if they want to win this. But with what we've been seeing from Void today, they may be able to just hold at the league start time.
And we're going to see what they come out with. This time we got Pro on attack. See if they can actually push, maybe get the full second point, pull out a win here on map 4. Would always be excited to see, because I think that their team is a little bit better than maybe they're playing today. Wright obviously doing a very good job. They need to deal with the Sombra a little bit. Wright doing a really good job on the Sombra. But besides that, I think Pro has been pretty solid today. They just need to work on a few things here.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of rough for them, but they do have that opportunity, and we're going to be getting into the match pretty soon. Looks like they're finally starting to have an answer to this Sombra Goats, and it's a bit of a shame that it took them this long to figure it out, because they've already lost, and now this is just for the funsies. But overall, pretty interesting match.
Pro coming out with the Genji and Genji solo DPS Genji. Got a Lucio, Reinhardt, Zarya as the two tanks. Danks on the Baguette to help out the Reinhardt, and casual Spec on the Moira. Get some AoE healing. Unfortunately, Danks going down quick to this right. He's just always in the back line, always hassling them, it seems like, this game's.
It's easy to do when you're playing Brig. You want to get in there, want to do some damage as well as healing, but you can't get too far ahead of yourself. Helix the Cat all the way behind the enemy team. There's going to be the hammer down, going to be catching Sniv, and it seems like Pika now is going to be able to clean up the rest of the team, get on the point. They should be able to take this no problem. Or rather, no, they're on defense. What am I even saying? They are going to be defending this again, no problem, making sure that not even a single tick goes through from Pro.
Yeah, Void right here answering back, saying that, like, if we can't get a second tick or a tick on point B, we're not even going to give you a tick on point A. We're going to win 4-0, trying to be a decisive victory. We'll see if they come out with it.
So far, they're doing a good job of it. They're trying to get some ult charge, get that Earth Shatter back. It's sitting at 50%. And there's going to be the coalescence from the side of Pro. They're going to be trying to push through this narrow corridor and use that healing and damage to do it. So far, it's even. Drade's Abstract did take out Nethel, and now there's the hammer down. So many great Earth Shatters in this game, but it is not enough. Maybe they overextended, but they are going to be surviving through this. And now Pro, they're going to be trying to get onto the point. It's just Helix the Cat left.
Great job by Elfie right there, recognizing the hammer, staying alive from it. He's able to use his ultimate, and because of that, when Pika overextended, they just had enough health. They could whittle him down real quick, get the rest.
Yeah, she did a great job holding onto that, staying out of the way, and so was able to use it at the right time, using it more as an offensive and then being able to just force the team through that choke. Did a great job.
Yeah, Pika, though, doing a great job on Reinhardt. Like you said, so many Earth Shatters. Actually, 2 Earth Shatters for Pika. Nethel has not had one yet. He has it charged up, but hasn't used it. We'll see if he uses it right here during this.
And there is the EMP. Won't be able to use it yet. He does get killed and sent back to the respawn screen. There is a mana boost onto a Zenyatta. Maybe a little bit extravagant, but they do still have plenty of ultimates.
Yeah, questionable all, but they got plenty of ults to work with. Pika, Tribalize, 2 huge ones. Sozin also, so 2 big support ults. Doesn't look like Void's going to be dying anytime soon during this fight. Though on the other side, Pro with even more ults, coming up in 5 out of those 6 ults. The only thing they're missing is their Lucio ult. So if they're able to get a good grab and maybe a blade, they actually couldn't go through this healing.
They only have to get 1 tick, like we said. Wolfpack is getting onto that back line. The team's trying to respond. You see Pika getting in there. Oh! Pika manages to kill Wolfpack just as the Genji Blade is used. And although the team is caught inside of a Graviton Surge, Sozin's Transcendence is going to keep them up and healthy. We are going to be seeing another Coalescence that just died out, and it wasn't really enough to push the team through. Now Pro is on the point, and they are caught inside of a Graviton Surge. One of them gets charged. It's going to be Elfie, and it's just Nethel left on the point, does fall. Now Sniv not going to be surviving for long. A great hold, but they're going to have to do it for another 4 minutes.
And Wright already with another EMP, able to charge that EMP so fast on this Baguette and Reinhardt Zarya. They're just immobile characters, really slow, really easy to hit. So he was able to just farm up EMP on them really quickly. And with that EMP, it's going to be super hard for Nethel to get in there. Any of their entire comp is calling for a pause real quick. Got a little problem one of the teams.
So I don't know. Looks like it was the side of Pro that's doing it. They're going to be calling it that pause. Maybe one of them is disconnecting or having computer issues.
All good. Give us a second to talk about what Pro maybe needs to do here to get this point. Obviously, the Sniv ult is going to be very important on Zarya. This hammer down. If Reinhardt is able to get one of their supports who has the ult, or the Sombra who has her ult, and stop them from using it before the fight starts, I think that actually could sway the fight into Pro's favor. Because they are able to win team fights when they can get the first kill. It's just with Wright out there right now, they're very rarely able to get that first kill because he's just getting the hack and just melting someone down really quickly.
doing a great job there. I mean, and also the Earthshatter is up for Nethel, but I feel like Nethel hasn't been getting nearly as much value out of the Earthshatter as Pika has. But I do think that ProPro is starting to get the idea. They're starting to engage with the Earthshatter. When they knock some people down, then they can go in and do work. We're finally starting to see that. We're going to be getting back into the game. Just one of the players was lagging, but they seem to be fine now. You know how those ISPs can be.
Back up we go. Here we go. ProPro's got another 3.5 minutes. Plenty of time for ProPro to get this.
They're going to be slowly moving forward now, and they can end it right here. There's the EMP, though. There is the hammer down. They are all knocked down except for Danks. But Danks is hacked shortly afterwards. They are getting wiped, and they have to go back to spawn with their tails between their legs.
Yeah, yikes. Just one EMP, one ult out of Void right there is all it took. And you see right now that it's one fight. The ProPro has to completely reset. ProPro is going to come in with 3 ults, but Void also has 3 ults to match it, 2 of them being support ults again. So yet again, it's going to be hard to win this fight with both those support ults on.
They are going to be using the rally, though, trying to use that extra armor as the engage. The hammer down does come through, and it's going to be catching some people on the side of Void, but it is not enough. Nethel does fall. They're trying to be kept alive by the sound barrier. ProPro trying to just persevere, but they can't do it. That sound barrier is dissolving too fast, and because that they are falling one by one, it's Sniv. That's the last one to fall.
And you see Wraith just constantly sitting in these high grounds, sitting in these corners, invisible, waiting for the enemy team to just walk past him, and then gets the easy hack on either a Genji or a Reinhardt. And hacking a Genji especially is crucial because he can't wall run, he can't escape. Kind of an easy kill once you get the hack on him. You really got to deal with Wraith, I think. He's doing a lot on the Sombra right now.
So now we are seeing ProPro gathering up over on the left side. They're going to be going through the tunnel and trying to get up onto the side of the point. Casual Upside did get hacked, but it is not enough to get the kill. You see Tribalize way in the back with Rith. Rith trying to get a little bit more charge off, using the translocator to get out. Uses the EMP. Is going to be catching a lot of people, and that is the hammer down yet again. Danks is going to get killed by the charge, and with Nethel just away from the team because of the EMP, it looks like Void is just going to be pushing up through. They want to clean it up right here. They do get hit by the Graviton Surge, and Wolfpack does burn the Dragon Blade, but thanks to the sound barrier, the team is going to stay alive for another day.
Yeah, another questionable all right there out of Sniv. It seemed like it was a 2v6. Even if you are able to get the grab on all 6 of them, they had to have realized they had so much healing left over. I'm not sure Genji was able to get any kill.
If Tribalize didn't have the sound barrier, they might have been able to do a little bit more, but it was just too much for them.
And yet again, just great use of ultimates on Void. You see right now, Pika's got his Shadow back already. He just used it last fight. He's got another one. Abstract still sitting on their big ult, on their Graviton. LP does not have her ult, so if he's able to use it right here, there's going to be nothing else he can do to save his team, and that's going to be a nice wipe.
So the Graviton Surge did catch some people onto the side of ProPro, but a good hammer down from Nethel made sure that Pika wasn't able to get to them to deal the damage. And so they're able to survive a little bit longer. They're sitting on the point. They're doing a good job of holding onto it, but Void is doing a great job of making sure they're all staying alive. Pika does get charged. Doesn't manage to land the charge back, and so dies to Nethel again. That Earthshatter hasn't been able to get on the point, hasn't been able to do that work. Will they be able to do it? We'll see. We see Tribalize trying to just skirt around, trying to stay alive, but gets knocked down by the Earthshatter. It's just Pika getting on, but no!
Great job, ProPro. Huge stuff out there. Great job in the Genji with the blade, finishing off those kills.
Taking it back right in the end. A very good job there, showing that they aren't out of it entirely. And, getting a map win shows that they did improve throughout that. You did see that at the end they were doing a much better job dealing with all of the EMPs and that just Sombra Goats comp that Void has been running all day.
Pika with his third play of the match today. 3 out of the 4 matches. Pika getting the play of the match. Huge Reinhardt shatters just all night long.
And speaking of play of the match, it's time to talk about our player of the match. Now, this is pretty difficult for me. There were so many great plays, and I'm really torn between Pika and Rith. It's almost trying to separate them entirely because they were just working together so well. Whenever there was an EMP, there was an Earth Shatter to follow it up. And those two just must have had great communication. They must have been practicing that for a while.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat. Like, how do you pick between those two? They both just absolutely killed it all game long. Obviously, Pika with that Reinhardt was super flashy, but I think Rith, he has the plays of Sombra down. Sombra's kind of a nuanced character. He requires a little more IQ, a little more thinking, and I think Rith definitely has that down.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you. Rith doing a great job just keeping the enemy team on their toes, make sure they're constantly having to watch their backs. And because of that, those were sets of eyes that were not on the front. And like I said, I hate giving it to just one person on the side of Void. They all did a great job, but Rith is going to be taking it today.
Huge team fights. You're absolutely right. I mean, Tribalize, Sozin, way to keep the team up. Seems like that no one on the team was ever dying. So great heals out of that. Helix the Cat also switching in, playing a lot of different roles. Super fun to watch. But I think this is one of the few times the commentators actually agree. Right gets my player of the match as well.
It doesn't happen too often. I was thinking about giving it to Pika just so that we did have a disagreement, but that would
Right
just be
earned it.
doing it for, yeah, Wraith gets it. So that is all for today, guys. If you do want to join our Discord, it's constantly growing, and you can come just as a community member, or if you want to play on some of these teams, you can apply at the Discord. You can, if you are silver through diamond, you can apply for a team. If you are above that, master, grandmaster, or even top 500, you can apply as a coach to get these teams performing better. And if you want to join our stream team, we are always looking for new people to help us with that, whether it's running the stream, running the lobby, or shoutcasting like us. Just look down below the video for that. And thank you all very much for joining us. I've been the Litzy, joined by Cal today. Do you have anything else to say?
No, man. Great games. Super exciting to watch. Glad to see Pika up here in gold. It's definitely where he belongs. So excited for next week, man, honestly. Just can't wait for another match. These teams are so exciting.
And we're going to see you all then.